Well, guys, I finally shelled out and bought a Skyline. Had a gift card and decided why not. And I think I got it for 38, pretty good price. Like, not bad at all. Kind of lucky on the price on there. And we all know this knife because it's probably one of the more popular knives on YouTube, barring the Spyderco Delica and Endura and the K-Bar Dozier and some of the other budget knives. This is one of the top under 50 knives out there, and it's kind of one of those things I had to have it. It's just so well known, and we're not going to go over all the stats and numbers and everything about it because we all know it. We've all seen it. This is not new to anyone. So what I want to talk about is fit and finish on this knife. I carried this thing for, I picked it up just after Christmas, so I've had it and carried it for quite a few weeks. And usually when I do reviews, guys, what I do is I carry it to the point where I feel like I can confidently review it, that I've broken it in, that I've found all the quirks and good things and bad things, and then the real test is after that point, do I still carry the knife? And what I found with this is actually, like, as soon as I felt confident enough to do my review, I stopped carrying it, which is kind of awkward because I really thought I was going to like this knife. The thin, lightweight, but still a nice, decent blade. Like the 14C 28N. That I really like that steel, but I couldn't get behind this knife, and part of it is fit and finish. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat that everything seems okay at first glance, but it's had time, carrying it day in, day out. Number one, the knife came to me extremely gritty, and you'll probably be able to hear it still, even though I've cleaned it and taken it apart. Oh no, it's actually pretty quiet now, but when I first got it, it sounded like Freddy Krueger running those claws across the chalkboard, like when I first got it, and I ended up blowing it out with some ballistol, and that still didn't fix it, so I ended up disassembling it and cleaning it, and there was a lot of grit and dirt and garbage in there, which that's no big deal kind of fix for me, but for people who aren't comfortable taking knives apart, that's going to be a big deal. It's really very gritty and very, not too pleasant. So, number two, very stiff. It still is. I've opened this thing, at this point, hundreds of times. I got it the first couple of days, and I couldn't get it to open. When I first got it, it really took a flick of the wrist to get it to going. Now I can get it, holding still and not using any centrifugal force. But, yeah, it took basically sitting watching TV and flipping this thing quite a few hundred times before it got smooth. So break-in was pretty extensive. I'll say right off the bat, break-in was tough. Now it's pretty smooth, but like I said, that took a really good cleaning and a lot of break-in. A lot more than most knives. Most knives, you're talking like 100, 150 flips and you're pretty smooth. This, I wouldn't doubt it if it took 400 or 500 flips. So overall, a couple little things, like some of the edge in here is a little sharp, I just don't know if it's not finished very well or if it's supposed to be, but yeah, that kind of catches a little bit. I mean, you can hear it on my nail. A real sharp edge on the inside of that, but it's not up here, like down here, it's up on the top. It's really nice and smoothed over. It's got that really good cutout, so you can access the thumb stud if you want to open it that way. Blade centering is pretty, I'd say fair. It's not, it definitely is, if you look, you can see it definitely leans this way. Not a ton, not enough to get bent out of shape about, but enough to notice, and just kind of another check mark. I like G10. I'm a huge fan of G10, and this is like the perfect amount of grippiness, so I really like the G10, the way they did that. Lanyard hole, it's like, what are you going to put in there, That's, it's like, it's kind of small. I kind of thought that was ridiculous. Why not make it a hair bigger? It's way away from the blade of the knife, But yeah, and last complaint, and this is something I won't be able to show you. I have not sharpened this knife, guys. Normally I always make it a point to sharpen a knife at least once before I review it. I did not sharpen it because I'm hoping I can show you. Once again, Kershaw sent me a knife with a really just weak grind. And what I found is with the USA Kershaws, and when you go back and look at my dash video, it's more prominent. But a lot of these USA made Kershaws, and I think I have 4 now, every one of them came with a really crappy grind on the blade. Once again, not a big deal if you're capable of sharpening. It's something that's going to come out in, you know, 1 or 2, maybe 3 sharpenings. It's going to take a little time, but it'll be out. It's not end of the world stuff. But once again, if you're a guy who, you know, is not comfortable sharpening and you know, maybe sends it off to someone or pays, you know, do you really want to pay right out of the box for a knife you got? And it was pretty bad, to be honest. Like when I went to cut paper, I opened this thing up and it was super sharp. You know, I kind of was able to shave hair off my arm, no problem. But then you took it to a piece of paper and it wouldn't cut a piece of paper because there was like a huge kind of like spot where the grind changed and it would just hang up on the paper. I mean, you could push cut it if you found, you know, one spot and kept it and just push cut it through, but like slicing a piece of paper, you couldn't do it. It would just catch and hang because the grind in like 3 different spots changed up. And I'm not sure what someone did, because you would think if you're sharpening this on a belt, you just kind of run it across. But I think what someone did is maybe they ran it across, like imagine if the belt plane is this line, you would think they would kind of like, and then sharpen like that. But what I think someone did is sharpen it like that. And that created the weird edge on it. We're going to see if we can get a close-up on it. But hopefully the reflection. Probably not going to be able to see it. Now I've checked this out with a loop. I have a 30x loop and one of those little 100x pocket microscopes. And you know, the thing is it's a relatively smooth edge. It's really not that bad. It's just like I said, when you look at it under like a low magnification, like 30x, you can see there's some spots where the grind like changes a little bit. And you know, like I said, it's not the end of the world if you're shaving hair. It's not the end of the world if you're carving wood. But slicing a piece of paper cleanly, not happening. So overall, guys, I gotta say the fit and finish was, I say, weak for being a USA made knife. This is completely and totally what I would expect out of a Chinese knife. But I gotta say, I own quite a few Chinese Kershaws, and I have 4 American made Kershaws. And pretty much the QC on the Chinese ones has been better than every American made one I've got. I'm really kind of shocked at this, and people are always like, oh, why the USA ones? It's like, I'm kind of losing interest in them because everyone I have comes to me in worse shape than the ones from China, which is ridiculous. It should be the exact opposite. I mean, I'm kind of, my mind is blown a little bit. So overall, guys, this is a knife, you know, we're all supposed to love. And you know what? It is a great design. Don't get me wrong. This knife is a fantastic design. It's been around, you know, for a long time. It's very useful. It's a really good EDC blade. You know, thin, relatively deep carry pocket clip, you know. It's got that nice finger choil. It fits well in the hand, you know. Big, full 4-finger grip, you know, that big, larger blade. I love stonewash, by the way, guys. I'm a huge stonewash guy. But overall, like getting this, it was kind of like, for me, not a big deal. You know, if you know, I would really kind of not have an issue, you know, but to a guy who's maybe new or doesn't want to deal with all the problems, I really wouldn't recommend this knife because, you know, you're probably going to have to clean it, you're probably going to have to take it apart, and you're probably going to have to spend some time sharpening it to get it where you want it to be. So, you know, it's tough to review knives like this, guys, because it's no big deal for me, but I also have to look out for you guys. So, you know, it did take some time. It took a lot of time, and you know, and here's the big question: why don't I carry this? Why is this not in my pocket on a daily basis? And I think the thing is that, you know, it is a nice thin knife, and it deploys well now. But you know, it's kind of like, you know, some of the hard edges on it, you know, the blade centering and all that kind of really gets to me for some reason. You know, when I get a knife and they come to me not perfect out of the box, it kind of kills it for me, you know. And as much as I do like it as a knife, as a design, you know, and I'll probably end up buying a deep carry pocket clip for this thing, you know, because they do make them those nice titanium ones, and I'll probably end up buying one. But overall, guys, you know, I mean, I'll carry it, but I'm just not overly excited about it. I thought I was going to be. I thought, you know, I'm really into the thinner, lighter weight knives now, and I really thought this is going to be kind of a, you know, a great buy. But in the end, you know, those SE folders I've been carrying those a lot. I've been carrying some of the Gonzos a lot lately. I've been carrying a couple Sanrem Muse, you know, like I've been carrying a lot of the smaller knives, and you know, it didn't really do it for me, guys. I hate to say it. You know, it's got a good D10. It's not shaking out. There's just, you know, there's a lot of good going on here, but like I said, this is a lot of work to get it where it was. A lot more work than it should be for an American-made knife, and you know, maybe this is just sour grapes on my end. You know, it probably is just sour grapes, but, you know, if you like the design, you'll like the knife, but with the caveat, guys, you really got to watch out that, you know, if this could be a lot of work when you get it. So I guess we'll leave it at that, and, you know, it's a good knife. Don't get me wrong, it's a good knife, good steel, lots of other good stuff, but just a little issue with the QC thing.